Recording. There you go. I think that's it there. Cool. Okay, right. So welcome to the second version of Cov Trumps, or virtual Cov Trumps, that we've done so far. And it's really cool. We did the first one with Joe from Coventry, and we've got Rich Bishop today, who's kind of joining me for a game of virtual Cov Trumps. So go on then, Rich. Tell people who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I guess what people know me as locally is I'm regional chair for the Federation of Small Businesses. So we kind of look after the interests of sort of the 4.8 million self-employed and small business owners across the country. And so we do a lot of lobbying, a lot of support for those kind of people. But actually, that's just one of the hats I wear. That's a kind of a hobby, if you like, that I do voluntarily.
An important hobby though at this time.
Yeah, I do my own software work as well. So I'm a software developer by trade, kind of always been self-employed doing that. And so working on some interesting projects at the moment with Coventry University Students Union, talking to Artspace in Coventry at the moment about some stuff we can do to help them through sort of the coronavirus situation. And so, yeah, lots of fingers, lots of pies, trying to keep yourself busy and useful, I guess, is the thing.
I bet you've been both busy and useful over the past few weeks, I guess.
Yeah, like nothing I've ever done before, to be honest. The last couple of weeks have been, I mean, I'm in a fairly lucky position that business for me will carry on as normal to a certain extent. I mean, if anything, we'll get a bit busier as we do some voluntary work to try and help people out as much as we can to keep their businesses going as usual. But from an FSB point of view, I mean, over the last 2 weeks, we've gone from having absolutely no support for self-employed people to finally getting some for about 3.5 million of them. There's still gaps. There's still things that aren't quite right. There's still people still falling through that trap. But it's been a really tough week, but I'm immensely proud of the team and immensely proud of what the FSB's managed to achieve. So, yeah, and we are a membership organisation. We're member-led, so we've been doing an awful lot around supporting our members and things like that as well. So it's a tough 2 weeks, but we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, which is good.
Yeah, that's really good. I follow you on LinkedIn and Facebook and stuff, and I've seen the amount of work you've put in, particularly before the announcement around the support for self-employed, that this was something you guys really lobbied hard for.
Yeah, absolutely, and really fought hard for as well. I mean, we've it's I can't wait to sit back and look back on it in a positive light. But right now, it's been 2 weeks of pretty hard work, to be fair. But we're there. We've got a lot of support for a lot of people now. That's good.
Okay, so in terms of your relationship with Coventry, then, so what's your relationship with Coventry? So the game we're about to play, are you from Coventry?
So no, I have to confess that I'm a Warwickshire boy myself. So grew up in Nuneaton, and I currently live in Rugby. So I'm not even living in Coventry right now, but obviously Coventry is my home city. Huge fan of what's happening in Coventry right now and the changes we've seen over the last sort of decade and the exciting things that'll happen in the decade to come. I purposely stuck around this area because I want to play whatever part I can in the transformation of the city. And I've kind of found myself kind of involved in lots of different things, and lots of the kind of things that are on these cards, really, I've kind of touched on at various different points. There's very proud of Coventry as a city, and I say very excited to see where it'll be in the future.
Yeah, it seems to be the city's time to shine at the moment. I keep saying there's a spotlight on the city. And I think some of the work that lots of us are all doing is kind of trying to play that small part. And I think that's what's been cool with the projects that I've been doing is really trying to promote the city in that positive light, and at home and people doing fun things together.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are fantastic. I mean, I absolutely love these. I mean, I got to confess, I haven't played with them yet. So I'm a
Cov Trumps virgin. Gives me an advantage. That's fine. I'm somewhat of an expert at them.
Oh, great. Here we go.
The way it works, then.
But no, it's good. It's great. It's a really, as I say, it's Cov's time to shine, and it's really exciting. And whatever blip we're currently going through right now, that's kind of paused a few things out there. It'll just, Coventry is the city that reinvents itself over and over again. It will come back, and it will come back stronger.
Yeah, and you and I are both on Twitter, etc., and we're seeing the kind of how the community has been pulled closer and closer together as part of this. We're not leaving people in silo on their own, and you can see all the different communities that are literally pulling together to try and support each other during this time. So,
absolutely
cool.
That's good.
Right. So the way that we do this then is there's 35-ish cards in this pack.
Okay.
We both have the same pack.
We
We'll
do.
take it in turns. So we'll in a minute we'll decide who goes first. If you win your card, you put your winning card to your left, and then if you lose your card, you put your card to the right. And at the end, we'll count up to see how many we've got.
Okay, cool. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so let's both pick a random. So cut the deck. Pick a card at the top of them. What will actually be quite cool is while we're going through, if there's a card that you don't particularly know as well as the others, just kind of let me know, and I can see what I can tell you about that thing. Because I imagine 90% of these you may know, but I think there's a couple in there that you might not necessarily know as well. So if I can enlighten you in any way, just let me know.
Will do.
Right, go on, let's cut your pat. I think we've got about a second's delay between the two of us, so I think we're doing quite well to keep a conversation flowing at the moment. So right, cut your pack.
Yep.
Put your top card, and then what we'll do is the card with the lowest year is the person that goes first.
Okay. So do you want me to tell you my year?
Yeah, go for it.
1927.
1920. So I've got the council house. Who have you got?
I have the cenotaph.
Okay, right. So stick that one to the bottom of your pile.
Yep.
And then I'll then go first. Okay. So the card I have in hand is the card that my boy Oscar, who's 5, he thinks if you have this card in hand, you're likely to win your hand. So I'm going to go with Iconic 100.
Oh, okay. Iconic 95.
That's a good win for me. So this is the top trump of the cards. So this is the Coventry Cathedral. So this is effectively the highest scoring card. So yeah. Oh, you got Peeping Tom.
I have. I'm at the other end of that spectrum, I think.
Yes. So go on then. So you stick yours to your right. I stick mine to the left.
Yep.
Okay, and it's my go again then. Okay, so I've got Fun 95.
Oh, Fun 100. I've beaten you there.
No, what have you got? The Wave. So I've got Cov Blaze. So I think one of the last things that I did before we actually started we're allowed to go outside, was Oscar and I went to the Cov Blaze game. I think it was probably the last one of the season, I guess, because it's been it's a really good time at the Blaze. Right, so that goes in my left, yours goes in the right. So we've both got one in each, yeah?
Yep.
Go on then. So it's back over to you now.
So I am going to go for Iconic 93.
Okay, so I'm on 76. So you've won that one.
I got Thrust SSC, yeah.
It's such a cool thing to have in the city Thrust. I think I kind of always took it for granted, and I see that front end view all the time. But we went to the Transport Museum a few weeks ago, and you forget how big it goes on. You're so used to seeing the front side.
As a kid going to the Transport Museum, either on a school trip or something like that, you do just take it for granted. It's like, oh yeah, this is in the city, this is fine. And then you kind of realise that most of the places don't have anything like that, and it's amazing that it's in Coventry. It's incredible.
It's a cool thing. I talk a lot about how since I started to Etch and Pin, it's brought me closer to the city. So I use something example of like the cathedral that I'm from Coventry. I've lived in Coventry all my life. That up until recently, I hadn't been to the cathedral inside for like 15 years. And it's just because it was on my doorstep and it was there, I just hadn't used it. And I must have now been in the last 18 months, but 50 times have been there. But I do feel that the journey we've been on with Etch and Pin has brought me closer to the city that I'm from. Herbert and Transport Museum, but one of those.
Yeah, and it's bizarre because so many locals in Coventry won't have visited these gems that are on their doorstep. And even if they have, they may not have appreciated, I guess, the historical significance of them. And things like the cathedral is a prime example of that. Some people will have been in there for, I don't know, graduation ceremonies from, I don't know, City College or something like that, but maybe didn't necessarily appreciate the story of how it came about, the kind of gifts from all over the world that have furnished it, and the stained glass and all those kind of things. And actually, when you learn more and more about it, you realise actually it is a really internationally significant building, which we just all take for granted. It's incredible.
But even the old ruins itself, I completely almost forgot that used to be a cathedral. I think because I've just grown up with it for so long, you just almost forget that used to be a cathedral that was magnificent and had a roof, and you almost forget. And I think that it's taken it to kind of recentral me to what's name. There you go. I've got boys going to the toilet, I think. I think we might have someone to the door. You okay? You can say hello to Rich. Hello. Say hello.
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 You okay? Yes, he's my helper, aren't you? You're one. This is Caleb. This is our youngest, who's 2.
Okay.
Yeah. You're good at the cards, aren't you? What's this one called? The cathedral.
Spot on.
Yes, you're very good. Right, go on then. Go there then with your brother and your mummy. All right. It's that weird thing now. The door went. I'm not used to people coming at the door anymore. You're like, oh no. Yeah. Go on then. So that was on to you again, wasn't it? Yeah, you won that on the wave. Have you been to the wave yet?
No, I haven't actually. No, I haven't been to the wave yet. No, and I've kind of missed my chance for a little bit now. So we'll have to. I'll have to add it to the list of when I'm allowed. I will go.
Yeah, everyone running. Yeah, it's really cool. I think we're really fortunate in the city to have something that kind of massive, and just it feels the kind of place that other cities have had for so long that we go and visit. Whereas actually to have it on our doorstep now is really cool.
Well, I remember in the planning phases of it, they were talking about sort of the significance of it, and the only place that I've ever been to, I guess even sort of locally, regionally, would be Waterworld in Stoke-on-Trent. And actually it's a huge place, and people do flock from all over it. So I remember growing up going up to Stoke, especially just to go to there. So the fact that we've now got it within the centre of the city is just incredible.
Yeah, and it's really like the rides are more scary than I was expecting them to be. Oscar is 5. They said that he was the youngest person. Oscar's quite tall for his age. They said he's the youngest person to do the scariest rides there. So I had quite a cool, proud dad moment when he went on this massive, that one where the floor comes in from underneath you and you drop down. But yeah, I think it's going to be hopefully when things reopen again. It's the kind of places I think that to be in a big open space like that and surrounded by water that's not just your bath probably is going to be an exciting time for people.
Yes, yeah,
right. Go on, out to you then.
Right, so I'm going to go now. Just to confirm, with year, it's going to be the oldest, isn't it?
It's the oldest, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go for year on this one.
Okay.
So I've got 1920.
1920. So I'm on 1997. So I've got Godiva Festival. So you've won that one. You Council House, yeah. When you said 1920, I thought that's the one I had at the beginning.
Yeah, that's it.
Back over to you.
Right, I'm going to go for year on this one as well because this year surprises me. So I'm definitely going to go for this. So I'm on 1843.
That's you again. So I'm on 1966. I've got the elephant.
And that's Coventry University.
Coventry Uni, yeah. So what's the year on that one?
I've got 1843.
Yeah, but didn't they have just such historic? They go back far and far, don't they? Academical places like that.
And it's really interesting for me because actually I was offered a place at Coventry University when I was looking for university, but we're talking about 2005, and at that point in time, it wasn't necessarily one of the places you would necessarily want to go. So I was offered this unconditional offer of, oh yeah, let's go to Coventry. And actually I chose not to, and I went to Stafford instead and did my studying up there. And then now the Stafford campus of the university up there doesn't exist anymore, closed down. Yeah. And Coventry is now a top 5 in a lot of league table university.
Thriving, isn't it?
It just shows you, I guess, the trajectory that the whole city and its university and everything is on, where the rules of 15 years ago just don't apply anymore.
No, I use an example of, so I went to Bars Hill. And at the time went for secondary school, and it was a similar kind of thing that when we were in the catchment area for Bars Hill, and when I was offered a place at Bars Hill, it was almost like a travesty that happened. I remember people being upset that you're going to go to Bars, and Bars Hill wasn't the best school at that time, but there was definitely like a community feel at the school, a very multicultural school, people from all walks of life that were there, and now Bars Hill again is a school that's definitely on the up. And I've been doing some work with Bars Hill recently, because I almost see it as like a mini Coventry. So Bars Hill was always in the shadow of places like Birmingham and Manchester, and Bars Hill was always in the shadow of like President Kennedy and Cowden Court, whereas now it's somewhere that is kind of developing and it is growing as time's going on.
No.
Over to them.
So next one for me, I'm going for Fun 83.
Oh, Fun 69. So you're on a roll here.
I am West Orchards.
Yes. Oh, West Orchard. The thing with the game is that you can go on a run, and it would probably be more difficult with this because you're not getting the cards back at the end.
Yeah.
But when we first played the first game, Oscar and I played, and we got like 3/4 through the pack, and I'd won every single hand, and I thought, oh no, there's a big flaw in this game. Oh, I've messed up. I've had all of these printed. But then Oscar then won a hand, and then he then ended up getting a load of the cards back.
Yeah.
It's all about getting lucky. Go on then. So what you on then for your next one? Oh, sorry, what was
Uh,
the one you went on then? Sorry.
that was West Orchards.
Oh, West Orchard, of course it was. Yeah.
Yeah. This one is, I'm going to go for Fun 94.
So Fern 84.
Oh, so I've got JD and Roisin.
Oh, JD and Roisin. Yeah, they were the last card that we added to the pack. They were.
Okay.
I had someone drop out right towards the end. No, not drop out. I couldn't get permission from them in the end.
Right.
And it was one that I really wanted in there. So I kind of gave JD a call and said, come on, JD, let's get you in there. So we managed to get JD in there right at the end.
Brilliant.
Right. Still with you.
Okay. I tell you, I'm sticking on Fun. I don't know what's happening. I'm having a run of Fun here at the minute. So I'm going for Fun 95.
Fun 85.
Oh,
friends at the museum.
Retro Golf.
Teasers. Have you been to Teasers?
No, again, not a place I've been to yet. So that'll have to be I've been to other places similar, but haven't been to Teasers since it opened. So yeah.
But like Teasers is a really cool place. Again, we've had a few people say, "Oh, why have we got like if this is like a historic Coventry in your cards, why have you got Teasers in there?" However, I wanted it to be representative across all ages and all of the various things that are in the city. And Teasers is really cool. Like I say, I've kind of been there a couple of times, and there's it's something different. I think that's what the city needs, isn't it? Is lots of things that are different to.
And I think there's an awful lot of Coventry to celebrate as its history and historic buildings, and even the buildings that people don't like, the reasons why they exist and the stories behind them. I mean, there's quite a few critics of the sort of 60s brutalist architecture. I mean, I personally quite like it. I'm a very sort of mathematically minded person, so I kind of like the grid patterns and the shapes of it, etc. But I completely understand why some people don't like it. But actually, when you look at it from a social point of view, what they were trying to achieve at a time of, I guess, huge despair really in the country and a real need to push the public and regrow community and regrow the country. Coventry played a huge significant role in that because of the role it played during the Second World War. And so even if you don't appreciate the actual architecture of the building, there's so much history in that that just it speaks volumes. But equally, the fact that we keep reinventing ourselves and places like Teasers now exist and things like that, it shows that the economy has now moved into more of an experience-based economy where people want to go out and enjoy themselves and do things, and Coventry is following that. So it's not all about retail, it's not all about historic buildings. Actually, when the economy moves into a different area, Coventry follows it.
Yeah, I remember a year or so ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, Sarah and I had a habit of just going into town just to walk around the shops, as opposed to do things. And as you say, experiences. Even obviously we're kind of losing IKEA, but IKEA was an example of that. You're still walking, but it was an experience of kind of walking around, and maybe less so than the leisure side of like the music museum and and Teasers, etc. But having things to do that aren't just walking around shops, I think is really important.
But I think the thing about Coventry, when you look at, I know, the history of sort of the bikes that became the motorbikes, that became the cars, that became, and you kind of move on, and what the economy needed at various different times, Coventry provided. And at a time when the economy needed to build a knowledge-based economy, Coventry University stepped up and took it. And now we've got an entertainment-based economy, an experience-based economy. And again, Coventry is just reinventing itself and becoming that again. And it's one of the incredible things. When you look at some other cities of similar size and similar history across the UK, actually, not many of them have achieved what Coventry has continually achieved every decade through thousands of years. It is impressive to see.
How do you see that developing further on, kind of not necessarily just during 2021, but kind of ongoing? What impact are you expecting 2021 to have on the city?
I hope for the city it will be an eye-opener for the people that live in the city. I think there's an awful lot of, I guess in some cases, justified negativity around the city. I mean, I've spoken to quite a few sort of locals who, I don't know, have lived their entire life. They're in their 50s now, lived there in their entire life, and they will talk about broken promises and, oh well, that's always been promised and it never happened, etc. And I'm hoping, my big hope is that these big promises that are being made at the moment around the new spaces in the city centre, the year of culture, the events that are going to happen, the really exciting things that will come in from all over the world and happen within Coventry. I hope that by delivering those and proving that they were real all along, it will change some of the mindsets of people who maybe have been let down by some empty promises in the past. Is my big hope, and I hope that instills in a little bit more civic pride in their city, because there are some cities across the UK who have real pride in themselves and real pride in being from that place, who don't have any of the amazing things that Coventry do. And so if other places can do it with fewer resources and fewer things to actually get excited about and actually be proud of, then surely Coventry, with all the things it can be proud of, must be able to do it. I'm really hoping that's the turning point.
It's going to be a big mind shift. I think the thing that I have seen, particularly as I'm now someone that's putting things out online, I'm putting good celebrating the city out online. So I'm having people comment a lot on the stuff that I'm doing. And I hope that people the civic pride that people have in the city wasn't just civic pride of being the underdog. And once we start not becoming the underdog, that actually they distance themselves from a city that's growing.
Yeah, I guess the irony of the underdog thing is actually in most decades through the 1,000-year history, Coventry has not been an underdog at all. Actually, it's been a leader. Okay, not for all of a decade, and there are certain points, and there are a couple of decades there that we haven't. But actually, for the majority of time, Coventry has led the way in all sorts of weird and wacky ways, sometimes leading too early and getting it wrong. I mean, we all joke about the ring road. It was the first and last of its kind, but the fact it was the first meant that Coventry was leading the way. Okay, others didn't follow in the same way, but it was still something that we could be proud of and push forward. And with the automotive industry and the universities that we've got now, so both Coventry and Warwick on the city postcodes, you think that actually it is still leading the way. And so the underdog thing, I think, is a complete mindset change that people naturally assume it is, whereas actually it kind of never has been.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see, I have to say. And I have to battle with deleting comments potentially. And I'm not one, my history is in kind of comms and marketing, that I don't like deleting comments, but you do get some like two-footed comments in the on there sometimes, and I've had to delete a couple, particularly promoting Cov Trumps. You know, where's the stabbing category, or where's the how high is your student accommodation? And there's a thing around kind of fun and kind of having digs, but at the same time, I do hope that a lot of what is being done will help to bring those people along with us.
I hope that as well, and I hope there is we're not going to change all the minds of all the people ever, unfortunately, and that's never going to happen. But through I guess the importing of people like students into the city and the academics that come with them, and then those students then staying around in the city, making this their home, and then building their own family units and raising a family in the city and creating those new generations of new people who I guess have chosen to come to Coventry and stay and live. I'm hoping there's some civic pride there, which then becomes excuse the pun in the current situation, but becomes infectious to those people around who then realise that actually they're quite lucky to have been born in Coventry because of everything that's going on right now, rather than just sort of, oh well, I'm born here, therefore I have to put up with blah blah blah. Actually, there's so many things that people are flocking to the city to come and do and want it to become their home. I think for a lot of people, they just need to realise they're in a pretty lucky situation right now.
Yeah, and I think the thing you've got to hope that by the time we're all finally allowed out of our houses, a year's worth of activities that are taking place you might get even more people from the city flocking to go to these places now after being cooped up for so long.
Absolutely.
Right, go on then. Over to you then.
Right. So I have actually been to this place. I have actually seen this, and I'm going to go for fun again because I seem to be on a winning streak here. But this is, Fun 95.
I have Fun 97.
Oh,
finally. So I've got the two-tone taxi.
Oh, no, I haven't been in a two-tone taxi, but I have seen the Blaze plate.
Oh, that makes me feel a bit better. The thing that I probably should have started with this is that I'm extremely competitive. So every time you've been winning these cards, it's like a dagger to my heart. So just winning one and to take my pile to two.
I would say beginner's luck on my part. Absolutely.
Yes. I'm not a very gracious loser. So if we lose and the stream just cuts off, that's probably why. Right, go on then. I've got to win this one, surely. So this is Fun 100.
Yeah, Fun 82. So I've got
the Elephant Building. Again, that's another building that has always been kind of part of Coventry, but we did a badge of, let's see if I've got any around, a badge of that as part of our pin badges that we've been doing, and it's one of our most popular ones. Kind of, so there you go, you're back. That square shaped building suddenly has become something people kind of latched onto.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, you do have to stand at the specific angle to see it as an elephant rather than just a big grey building. But again, it's one of those things where it's unique. It might not be to everyone's taste, but again, historically, it was meant to be this big, grand gesture about sort of reinvigorating the city. And I can imagine at the time people were very excited about it. And maybe again we lose focus on they're the kind of things that make Coventry unique, really.
Yeah, and I don't profess to be an expert on the elephant, but was it accidentally an elephant? Was it supposed to be an elephant?
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I know a man will know.
Only in Coventry you could get a building that accidentally looks like the animal that's associated to the city. So it must have been, or I don't know, it might be one of those magic eye pictures that if you look at a certain way, you end up seeing something out of it. Right, back onto me then. So I'll go on with a strong one. So Iconic 93.
Oh, Iconic 100.
Oh, you've got the card. At least that one's gone then for me. Go on then, back over to you.
Okay. We've already talked about this one. I'm going Iconic on this one as well. So Iconic 93.
I've got Iconic 98. So I've got the Cathedral. Yeah, another strong. The Ring Road. So it's funny that one. So the way that I scored this, so rather than it being that it was just me that decided what the scores were, I put a survey out to about 50, 60, about 100 people, but 50, 60 people came back to me asking them to score it. And I had certain things I was hoping that Lady Godiva scored high and the Cathedral scored high. But the one thing that I wanted was the Ring Road to score low on Fun. So on Fun, it actually is the lowest scored card of Fun in the pack.
Oh, yeah.
I think no one can really say that the Ring Road's fun. And I think that it should say that people hold a certain attraction to various landmarks in the city, and the Ring Road is one of those. It is a love it and loathe it situation with it.
Yeah.
I think I want to meet it,
but there you go.
What's that? You want to love it?
I'm odd for loving it. I think Ring Road is when it's used well and everyone follows the rules, it works really, really well for what it does. But no, I get why most people wouldn't agree.
What's that? Right, back over to me. So I'm gonna use a tactic you used earlier in the game, which was year 1843.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've gone with your
easy win, and I've got Coventry Market there.
Coventry Market. Okay, back over to me. So Iconic 94.
Oh, again, nice win. I've got Iconic 81, two-tone taxi.
Yeah. So I'm on the Tapestry.
Nice.
Again, the Tapestry, I'm seeing if I've got my thing up here now. The Tapestry is something that the more this has been going on, the more. So if I think about the Cathedral when I was young, the Tapestry would always be the thing that I think of. And I put a post out yesterday saying since we've started Etch and Pin, there's been like 4 products that I've done that are focused on the Tapestry. I think it is such a Coventry landmark, but because it's not necessarily on show in an external place, that people don't necessarily consider it as much. But it is a really cool icon of the city.
It is absolutely.
Okay, so it's back on to me, isn't it?
Yeah, carry on your streak.
Might end on this one. Fun 83.
Oh, unlucky. Fun 96. That's Transport Museum.
Yeah, so I've got West Orchards there. West Orchards is like consistent across all of them, as opposed to a master of any.
Right. Yeah.
So it's always always a punt on those. But okay, back over to you.
Okay, so I'm going for Culture 95.
I'm on Culture 85. So you've won that one. I'm on University of Warwick. Are you on Friends from the Music Museum?
I am indeed. I'm going to stick with. Oh, am I? Oh no, I'm going to go with Fun on this one. Fun 100.
Okay, that's a strong one. Yeah, I've got 74. So what are you on? Godiva?
The unbeatable Godiva Festival.
Yeah. Over to you.
Right. Back to Culture for me. Culture 99.
Culture 65.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the Herbert.
I'm taking a beating here. Right.
I love this one. I'm slightly I'm slightly disappointed in you that the scores aren't higher for this. So I'm going for Culture 91.
Culture 81. Who are you on that one?
It's a bad.
But this is why I scored. This is why I got other people to score it. Because if I'd have made my stuff for the highest rated ones, I think people would have saw through it.
This is true. No, it's good.
That badge kick-started everything that we've been doing kind of since then. And we released that in midway through, what would it be, 2018, which seems crazy that it was that long ago. Released it as a bit of a pun.
Because it is such an iconic thing for Coventry. And I guess, again, if you're someone who's grown up in Coventry and maybe never really lived anywhere else or anything like that, you've probably never come across the fact that that is a weird thing to say. But actually, I've been on the other side of the world. I've been being in a restaurant in Goa in India, and someone asking for a batch and realizing that they were from Coventry straight away, and then striking up conversation with them. And it's one of those things where it's a unique thing for Coventry. Like, there are obviously many terms for bread roll, but a lot of them span vast distances across the country. That is so unique to us. It's easy to pick someone out in the crowd.
I always knew that it was going to be a conversation starter. So when I was working on which ones to start with, I always knew if I released for that one, it would get people talking, and it definitely did. It was really cool. We got front page of the Telegraph with that one.
Yeah.
Which is when I was at the NHS, we'd spend like time and time to try and get on the front of the Telegraph for a good news story and not be able to. And I released a badge that is a fun take on a saying in the city and end up on the front page of the Telegraph.
That's it.
Right. So we're still on to you, aren't we?
And this one, I could go for either iconic or historic on this one. So I'm going to go for historic. And I'm going for 100.
Okay. I thought I had a chance there. You're on Godiva, yeah. I'm on historic 95. I tried my best poker face then. So when you said I could go for iconic or historic, I thought go historic. Then you said historic. Then my poker face had to carry on, and then you said 100. So now over to you on that one. So back over to you then.
So, do I gamble on the year on this one? No. I think I'm going to go for Culture on this one. Culture 85.
Culture 91. That signified a roll. No, it signified a batch, that one. Right, here we go. This is where the comeback starts. Culture 99.
Oh, just 92 for me.
So I'm on Herbert there.
There you go. Yeah. Good work.
I think I pretty much need to win every card between now and then to give me a chance. But I'm going to go for year 1154.
Oh, I think we've got a snap.
Have we? So the way that we do snaps then is it goes in the middle.
Okay.
So it goes in the middle. Then this card, so you pull your top card out. So it's another round, and whoever wins gets both of the cards.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got Fun 95.
Oh, Fun 84. Well done, you.
Yes. So those two go in your losers pile.
Yeah.
These two go into the winner. This is where I have to make sure that if I am going to go on a roll, everything needs to go my way now.
I'm just looking now. You're not far behind. You've caught up quite well.
Right. another. We'll go here. I'm going to go historic 88.
Oh, historic 97, the new cathedral.
Oh, what was your culture on there?
97.
So you'd have beaten me on the two and the iconic. I guess you'd have beaten me on as well.
Yeah, so I got fun 76.
Yeah, 66. So you had that one. Got back over to you. Feeling confident now.
Oh, okay, right. So somewhere I've never been actually. So I'm going to go for fun 90.
Fun 87. Took
Simone
a strong
Jones.
card out. Simone Jones. So again, similar to teasers, people saying like, you put as one specific thing, but Simone Jones again is part of like, the culture of the city. It's
Yeah.
an increasingly popular place to go. But yeah, I thought I wanted to have appeal to a wider range. Go on, over to you.
I'm going to gamble on the year on this one. So I could go for historic, but I'm going to go for the actual year instead. So year 1342.
Yeah, 2003. So you've beat me on that. Yeah, I'm sure that St. Mary's Guildhall is older than JD. JD's been around a long time now.
Don't say that to his face.
This one. I don't know, it's you.
Right. I'm going to go for historic 88.
86.
Oh, I've dropped the card. There you go. So Mike on the devil.
That's a good one.
Right. Where am I now? I'm going to have to go for the year, I think, on this one. Year 1953.
2018.
Oh, look at that.
Coming drubbing. I've got the Coventry flag on that one.
So yeah, Elephant and Castle for me. That's brilliant. All right. Oh, Culture 100.
Culture 85. Culture. Don't show me. Let me see. I'm trying to guess what it is.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I'm trying to think what it is. I think I call it. Is it Belgrade?
Yeah, it is. Belgrade. Yeah.
Go on then.
Right. Oh. Okay. This is tricky. Culture 88.
Culture 70.
Oh. So that was Coventry flag.
Yeah.
I was a lucky draw against you there because that's not that strong.
No, I can always, when I play with Oscar, I can tell by the look on his face whether he's got that one in hand. And yeah, he normally kind of sighs when he gets that one. So it's relatively new, isn't it? The flag. So
it is.
It wasn't the spot high for a few of them.
Yeah. Right.
Go on.
I'm going to go for year on this one. I think so. 1154.
1980. You are.
You want to have a guess?
What was it? 1154.
Yeah.
Was it grammar school?
It is indeed. Well done. Right. What are we going for now then? Iconic 83.
88.
Oh, what have you got?
Yeah.
Nice. Whittle Arch.
Whittle Arch. There's a consolation goal for me. 90th minute consolation goal.
And I think we both know what this might be.
Oh, what you started on. So I've just had the card you've just had. So I've got Iconic 83.
Iconic 76. Well done.
So I think we have a clear winner. This is where I need to channel my gracious losing face. And as I count, be really happy that I...
Yeah. I've just had a look.
Count yours up. 1, 2, 3.
I will give you the benefit of that is beginner's luck for me. I mean, genuinely, not only is it the first time I've played Cov Trumps, it's the first time I think I've ever played a Trumps game at all.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so that is purely beginner's luck.
Yeah. The interesting one is that I've never really played it with the year involved.
Right.
It opened it up because obviously Oscar's he'll be looking for the highest number rather than the lowest number. It's quite whereas actually it adds like another dimension. It was the first time that thing. So what do you reckon you were on?
Oh, I don't know. Shall I count them out? Let's have a look. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, I think.
Yeah, so 12. So it was a clear 2/3 victory.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have to have a rematch.
Yes, I'll have to really start studying. But yeah, no, that was really cool. Again, it was when I first started this, I never quite knew how it was going to go, and I think it's been a really cool experiment to see how we can do things virtually. We can do things differently, and I think I've been with Sarah and the two boys for the past couple of weeks now, and we've not seen many human faces, so it is nice to do stuff like this to see other people.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for these are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. It's been a real good kind of time playing with you. Keep up all the good work, everything that's going on. I think that a lot of the kind of IT and infrastructure work that's going on behind the scenes is some of that real unseen work that people don't necessarily realise is there behind the scenes, keeping the cogs going. So, and keep championing small businesses and self-employed. And then, when we come out the other side, we'll have another game of this, but maybe face to face.
Sounds like a plan. Great.
Take care. Keep well, and we'll see you soon.
Bye now. Bye.